How's it going, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another edition of Top 10 Tuesday. As always, check the description down below to see a list of links. Follow those links, sub the people that those links go to. Those are the people who created this series. This is a weekly series where we count down our top 10 favorite enter theme. So this week's theme is Anthologies, and Anthologies is a great theme to do a top 10 for because there are so many to choose from and there are a lot of very good ones. It's an excellent format and style for a film, usually anywhere from 3 to 5, sometimes more, sometimes less, short stories that kind of blend together, usually anchored by some sort of common theme or overarching story. So let's get into my top 10 this week. I was surprised to see, as I was looking through my collection, I own a lot of anthologies that I still have not watched, a lot of popular ones. So if there's certain films not on this list, chances are that I haven't seen it, or I just think it's not good enough for this list. Coming in at number 10 is actually a film that I do not own in my collection, but there's a good reason for it, because it's never been released. That is Trilogy of Terror 2 from 1996. I've always really liked this anthology. I remember seeing it as a kid back on the TV, probably before the original Trilogy of Terror. The original film came out in the 70s, and this one was much later. There was a segment about some graveyard cemetery rats that has a great build-up, and in my head the rats were so scary, but as I watched it years later, the rats do kind of look a little lame, but the build-up is so worth the segment alone. And then the other notable segment is the final segment, which is literally a sequel to the Zuni Fetish Doll segment from the first film. It picks up right after. Great idea. It's so cool that they did a follow-up. I love that. It's a little bit underrated. It needs to get a release. This one is definitely filled with nostalgia for me, so that's probably why you see it on the list first and foremost. Then we move into number 9, which is actually another film that I don't own for not a good reason, and that is VHS 2 from the year 2013. VHS 2 is one of those films that I just loved. I loved almost every segment in it. I liked every segment in it, at least. My favorite is probably the cult segment with the crazy demon thing that gets resurrected. Everybody's like committing suicide. It's just batshit crazy, crazy over the top, extreme religious people. Drives me crazy. It creeps me out. I get so freaked out when I start watching these religious cults capture people and do whatever they need to do for their belief. It really is freaky. The eye segment was really good. The alien segment was great. I mean, there's a lot of great segments in VHS 2. That's why it's on this list. It's definitely one of the better anthologies. It mixes the found footage format very brilliantly with the anthology, using clever ways to kind of do the camera, the POV style. Way better than VHS Viral. So let's move on to number 8. We have Trilogy of Terror, the original. This one is also very awesome. The Zuni Fetish Doll scene is so suspenseful and intense. It is an awesome scene, or segment. I love that segment, and for that reason alone, it deserves to be on this list. And of course, I actually really like both of the other segments too. The two sisters, I saw the twist coming in that one, but it was still done very well. And of course, the teacher, that was an awesome segment too. I just love, people getting their just desserts. That happens a lot of times in these anthologies. So we have the original Trilogy of Terror coming in at number 8. And then, of course, coming in at number 7, we have a film that I also don't own in my collection, and that is Cat's Eye from the year 1985. I've only seen this film once, but I loved it when I seen it. The segment Quitters, which is about the guy who wants to quit smoking, so he hires a company that is supposed to help him stop, but they go to any length to stop him. Oh my god, I love that segment. I don't know what it is about it. It's just something creepy that there's all these people. It's much bigger than you ever think of, and the guy is just kind of, you know, stuck in this terrible situation, and he still can't quit smoking. It's really cool. Then there's the segment about the guy on the ledge. That one's really good as well. The troll segment I'm not the biggest fan of, but I just love the overall setting and you know, structure of this one, with the two strong segments, and then like the cat kind of tying it all up. I mean, it doesn't have the greatest wraparound story or anything like that, but I just love those first two segments so much. It's just a really fun anthology for me. And then coming in at number 6, we have the original VHS, which in my opinion is not better than the second VHS film, but it is, to me, more of an impactful film, because of the first segment. The segment with the succubus just really got under my skin. I wasn't expecting it to be as intense and scary as it was, and I just have this strong memory of watching it where it just freaked me out, and it was very powerful. And for that reason alone, and kind of, once, this was never really done like this before, so, you know, as the sequel not being as original, this one just kind of stands out a little bit more to me, even though I don't think that this one's a better film, because technically this one has a few weaker segments compared to the second film. I do really like Ty West's segment, though a lot of people don't. The only segment I don't like in this film is the Saturday the 18th or whatever the hell it's called. It's that weird play on a slasher. I hated that segment. The acting is so terrible. So yeah, VHS, great anthology. The final segment is great in that one as well. Of course, the wraparounds in VHS, the VHS films are very weak. Coming in at number 5, we have John Carpenter's Body Bags. This one I'd only seen for the first time a few years ago. It was actually before this release. This one is really cool. The gas station segment is just a well played out horror film. I love that one. The hair segment really just grosses me out. It's something about hair. I don't know. It just really, you know, grosses me out. And the eye segment is very good as well. Plus you have John Carpenter playing the morgue runner guy who's just ridiculous. I love that character. I would have loved to see this turned into a TV show or something like that, which initially was what it was supposed to be. So John Carpenter's Body Bags coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Creepshow 2, The Raft. That's pretty much the reason here. The Raft is a great segment. I remember just seeing it for the first time and loving it. Of course, I actually do really like the Chief Woodenhead segment as well. I know a lot of people really don't. That's probably my second favorite in this one. And of course, The Hitchhiker is a great segment too. Very solid. All around, all 3 segments are very solid in this one. Of course, I love the Creepshow comic book style. That is very awesome. Creepshow 2 is a great anthology. Of course, after that, we have to have Creepshow 1, the very first Creepshow. They're creeping up on you. Great segment. My favorite one is actually the Geordie whatever one, the Stephen King segment, the grass growing everywhere. I love that one for some reason. A lot of people don't like that one, but I that's definitely my favorite. It's very comedic, but I just find it kind of terrifying to see this stuff that is unstoppable, and it's just growing and growing and growing, and then you kind of have this doofus who it's happening to, which even makes it more tragic, right? It's definitely plays on the comedy a bit, but it's a very solid segment. You know, all 5 of them are good in this one, to be honest. I like all 5. My least favorite is probably the very first one, with the zombies. But I have heard people say that is their favorite, so I believe it's Father's Day. Creepshow, awesome stuff there. Of course, any top 10 must have at least one of the Creepshow films on it. And then coming in at number 2, we have Tales from the Hood. Have it on VHS here because I have not shelled out the cash for the DVD, but I still watch this VHS. This is seriously one of the best anthologies ever made, and a lot of people immediately dismiss it because it's called Tales from the Hood and it looks cheesy and ridiculous. The segments are great. All 5 segments are great. The wraparound is one of the better wraparounds out there, and there is a lot of depth to the stories, a lot of social commentary and metaphors and things like that. Very amazing anthology. I highly recommend Tales from the Hood. If you've never seen it, which lately I have been meeting people who say, oh, I've never seen that one, I always, kind of dismissed it. Don't do that. It's a great anthology. There's a lot of people who've seen it, but if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. You'll be very pleasantly surprised. Tales from the Hood is amazing in my opinion. Great soundtrack too. And then coming in at number 1, you have to have the Trick or Treat film. It's set on Halloween. It's an anthology. It has the best wraparound and intertwining of the segments that there possibly is. You can tell a horror fan and a horror nerd made this because the way that the stories are intertwined, the guy was probably obsessed with the idea of making this film. This was probably, I know Michael Dougherty made it, but it was probably a passion piece. I know that he had the Sam character for years and years beforehand, and he's always kind of thought of this story. So you can definitely tell it's something that's been in the back of his head forever. I love all the segments in this. It's so great because it's all of these creepy, weird, ominous things that could happen on Halloween, and you have Halloween itself manifested into a character who looks and fits the part perfectly. If I thought of Halloween as a person, it would probably look like Sam. Great anthology. I don't have to tell you guys that. Everybody's a fan of that one. It's a shame that it never got the proper release it deserved. It was slated for a theatrical release, put on the shelf for I believe a year or 2, and then wound up straight on DVD, and that really sucks. So see you guys next time with another top 10. This was my top 10 favorite horror anthologies. Like I said, there's a lot that I haven't seen that I do need to start watching. And I actually just woke up, so I need to go get some coffee or something. Peace out, guys.